Welcome to episode 3 of PlanSwift tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be discussing substructural work items for this simple plan. And also in the process, we'll be discussing each of the work items and also creating a template in order to fast track our work process. So this is going to be our lesson 1. And under lesson 1, we'll be discussing removal of trees, stumps, and site clearance. So without further ado, I'll get started after this timeout. Welcome back. So the first item on our taking off list is removal of trees. So let's discuss this process. So for explanation process, we'll be using this as our site plan representing different types of features on our site. We'll be using this green one as trees, where this uncolored element will be representing our stumps. So assuming this is our site plan and we have different type of trees and stumps to be removed on site and we have grasses around. So how do we identify how to take up this process? Under PSMM4, we have 3 categories of trees. The first one is gaps between 500 mm to 1005 mm, 2 1005 mm to 3000 mm, and the last one is over 3000 mm, stated in 1005 mm stages. That is, so anything above 3000 to 4500 is going to represent another stage. From 4501 up to 6000 is going to represent another stage. So in 1500 stages, so we'll be representing them in each stages. Let's assume this is our tree and it's between 500 mm and 1005 mm. So we are just going to picking them randomly so in order to explain this part. And how do we measure the gap of a tree? Okay, assuming this is a tree on our site, we measure the gap 1 meter above the ground level. So assuming this is our ground level, so we measure 1 meter above the ground level. So let's say this is 1 meter. So our gap is the diameter of this at this point. So at this point, when we measure around the diameter of this tree, so whatever we get at this point is going to represent our gap. So assuming when we measure this, we have 501. So this falls between the first category, that's gap between 500 to 1005 mm. So once you measure from the ground level above the ground level 1 meter, you're going to be getting to the point to measure our gap. So 1 meter above the ground level is going to represent the area to which you're going to be measuring around the tree in order to get the gap. I hope that's clear now. So let's consider the second one, stumps. These are tree stumps. They are usually a small remaining portion of the trunk with the roots still in the ground. So after cutting down the tree, or let's say during the dry season there was cutting down of trees and this is what we have left or something, or there is burning of bushes or anything, so and we have this left. So stumps are measured at the top, the diameter are measured at the top, and this also comes in 3 categories, same as trees. So let's explain that. So the first one is between 500 to 1500. This is clear. So anything that falls between this is going to be our first category. So now, so anything above 1501, that will be greater or equals to up to 3000. Don't forget they are in mm. So this is going to represent stage 2. So the last stage, which is over 3000, so equal or greater than 3001 to 4500. You remember this third stage stated that we have over 3000 stated in 1005 mm stages. So from 3000 to 4500, that's our stage 3. So anything we get round the top of our stump is going to represent the gap to which it falls. Assuming this is let's say this is 4750, so it does not fall between third category. So let's check if we have it under the fourth category. So the fourth category is going to come 45016,000. So that's greater or equals to. So this falls between the fourth category. I hope that is clear now. Now that we've established the explanation of both trees and stumps, let's go to our taking off process. Now we have this. So let's take off for trees. So we'll come to tree. It's going to ask us the name. So tree, let's assume we're going to be doing the first stage. That's 500 mm to 1005 mm. So press OK. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So once you right click and press stop, so it's going to show us we have 7 number because it's going to be in counting. We are counting them. Okay, if you check the PSMM, removing trees number, so is a number, so you're going to be counting. So let's do the second stage. So we'll come back to this place. We have removal of trees 1500 mm to 3000 mm. So we can as well change the color. Okay, so let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if once you right click, once you are done and you are sure you are done with them, so right click and press stop. If you check this point, we have removal of trees. We have 500 mm to 1500 mm. We have 7. Removal of trees 1500 mm to 3000 mm. We have 9. So let's do the last one. So greater than 3000 mm. Let's change the color as well. Okay, so this is B1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say we are done with that and press stop. Now we have them. Okay, now let's go and check our work now, what we've done. So come to estimating. We have removal of trees, the number. This is the point count and the unit. We have 7. You see the takeoff 7, 9, and 6. So let's go to the second part, which is removal of stumps. Now we've established the explanation of removal of stumps. So you activate also. You're going to be doing the same thing, 500 mm to 1500 mm. So we've agreed that this uncolored element are the stumps. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say we're done with the first part. Stop. So we'll come again, we'll activate. This is between 1500 mm to 3000 mm. So change the color, press OK. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right click, stop. So the last category, greater than 3000 mm, but in 1500 mm stages. So you change the color. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So right click, stop. Now we are done with the taking off of trees and stumps. Let's go to site clearance. Now we are done with this part. So let's go to review site plan and let's do site clearance. Okay, in my previous video, I'll be linking somewhere around the top right corner here. I've explained 2 scenarios where you have the site plan and you don't have. But luckily enough, we have the site plan here. So we'll not be needing spread or offset to our build in order to allow for temporary work on site. Now we have our site plan. One thing you should know about PlanSwift is make sure you scale your drawing individually. Don't just take one and scale all the drawings at once. Just make sure you scale each of them. If you have 20 sheets, 23 sheets, or how many sheets you have, make sure you scale them one after the other in order to have the correct scale for each of the drawing. Maybe one of the drawing is drawn to another scale and you use the same scale for everything, so it's going to disrupt and give you a wrong output. So make sure you scale each of your drawing individually. So now without further ado, let's get into this one. Site clearance. Now that we have the site plan, we don't need to add offset. What we need to do is just to come to site clearance. Is measured in meters squared, so we don't have anything to do. Just press OK. So you come to the first point here, you click the second point here, and this is the third point, and this is our last point. Once you get to the last point, you don't have to go back to the previous one. Just double click and press stop. Now we have the total area of our site for site clearance. Now we have the total area of our site. We have 501.5, that's 502 meters squared. But let's say, assuming we don't have the site plan, what are we going to do? So let's come here. Now we don't have the site plan here. This is where we have the introduction of offset. Okay, so I'll be allowing 600 meters around the perimeter of the building. So I'll come to my template offset. What is the minimum width I'll be adding to the perimeter of my building? So 600, 0.6. So I'll press OK. So I'll pick the first corner. I'll go like this, go like this, go like this. So I'll come here, come to this point, and double click stop. Now I have offset around my building. So now let's select site clearance. So I don't have to change anything. I'll just press OK. So I'll measure from this point to this point to this point. If you notice something that in this process, I've tried to eliminate one thing. If you're using a manual process, you have to pick to this point, and after which you have to deduct this small area. But using PlanSwift has already saved us a lot of time and fast track our work process. So I don't have to be deducting this part from my work again. I just have to go straight to my concerned area. Now I've done site clearance with offset of 600 mm around the perimeter of the building. So I have 227.6 square meter. So me adding 600 around the perimeter to allow for temporary site work such as mixing area, temporary site plan, site storage, and all the likes. So you can do well to check the link video in order to get the manual process of taking off and understand what we've done. So with all being said, now let's get into creating a template for this work item. Now let's go into creating the template. So the first thing is come to template, come to new tab. So we'll be naming this episode 3. Okay, so we have this. So you can create a folder. So I'm creating a folder. What are we naming it? Substructure. Okay. So now let's create for taking off. So we are going to be creating the first template for removal of trees. So it is measured in number. So we come to count, we'll click. So we name it removal of trees. So you come here and select any color of your choice. So you can select any shape that you want. So let's say square. I'll press OK. So you can expand them in order to have them. You can put description or anything. You put the price and any other thing. You can as well add if you feel or you want to remove any other thing best fit. So but let me increase this space in between them. Now let's do the same thing for stumps. So we come to count, removal of stumps. So now make a mistake. So we can correct the mistake by double clicking on this. So we did not select the color. So yellow, the shape, circle is alright, and press OK. Now we're done. So let's create for site clearance. Site clearance is measured in meters square. So you come to area now, site clearance. So under this template, we are assuming the architect is going to provide the site plan. So come to color, you select any color. So come to advanced, there's nothing to do since it's measured in meters square, you press OK. Let's allow offset in case we are not given a site plan. So we come to linear meter because we are going to be adding a minimum of 600 mm around the perimeter of the building. So site clearance, offset, we select the color. Let's say orange is still the same, so we can put red here. So we come to advanced. Under advanced here, we are under estimating. We'll be creating a new property which is width. So let's add width. So that is going to be representing the amount of offset we are adding to the perimeter of the building. Is measured in meter. So this is width. So we're going to be checking this. So whenever we activate this, it's going to ask us to input the total width we are allowing for in our work. So it's not going to affect our calculation. It's just going to show us the thickness of the offset we are allowing for. So press OK. Now let's put our template into test. So come here. I'm going to be changing it here. So I'm going to be offing this. Site clearance is gone. So I'm going to be offing this all as well. So now let's do the same thing as we've done earlier. So I activate this. That's removal of trees. So it's going to tell me. So I'll put 500 mm to 1500 mm. I'll press OK. So now you can do 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. So we have it here as you can see. So I can as well delete this. So in order to have the new one. Okay, now we have, so let's do for the second one, removal of stumps. For this 1500 mm to 3000 mm. Circle, so I can change to plus. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stop. Now let's do for site clearance. Site clearance, activate. Okay, so from the first point, to the second point here, third point, and the last point. Right click, stop. Now we have our site clearance. So now let's go to creating offset around the building. So I will be selecting, activating this. So it's asking me, so 0.600. So I'll be changing the color here. So let me change it yellow or green. Okay. Now we are creating offset around the perimeter of the building. Double click here. Now we have the offset around the building. Don't forget to right click and press stop. So now let's create site clearance. We activate this. Okay. So go from here to this point. This point. And at this point we right click. I will double click and press stop. Now we have everything we need, and now we have a template in place. So this is going to fast track our work process moving forward. So until when next, I'll be seeing you in another tutorial. You're welcome.